Welcome to a battlefield of minds. Two grandmasters face off where every move cuts like a sword. One mistake, and it's over. This isn't just chess. It's war disguised as strategy. Let's dive in, move by move, into this epic clash. Eugene opens with d4. The central pawn surges forward like a spear, claiming territory and setting the tone for an ambitious battle. Wesley answers with nf6. The knight leaps out confidently, eyeing the center like a silent guardian preparing to strike. Eugene continues with c4, reinforcing his grip on the center. The pawns now form a mighty white wall pressing for dominance. Wesley replies with g6. The Indian setup emerges, calm and flexible, hinting that black is ready for a long strategic war. Eugene develops nc3. The second knight joins the fray, sharpening white's control and preparing for a dynamic confrontation. Wesley counters with d5. The classic challenge, a central punch that dares Eugene to open the battlefield early. Eugene accepts with cxd5. Tension explodes as white opens the center, trading space for initiative. Wesley retakes with nxd5. The knight gallops forward, reclaiming ground with precise timing and balance. Eugene brings out bd2, a cautious yet mysterious move, guarding his flank and setting subtle traps beneath the calm surface. Wesley plays bg7. The fianchettoed bishop takes aim down the long diagonal, ready to slice through any weakness. Eugene strikes with e4, a bold thrust into the heart of black's structure, showing he's not afraid to dictate the fight. Wesley coolly captures with nxc3, a calculated exchange, simplifying the tension while preparing counterplay. Eugene recaptures with bxc3. The bishop now commands the board, standing tall on open lines like a battle standard. Wesley castles short. His king tucks away safely, signaling that the opening skirmish is over and the real war begins. Eugene develops a pawn. The rook aligns with the enemy queen, quietly threatening and preparing tactical fireworks. Wesley plays c5, a strike of precision, challenging white's center and igniting a wave of counterpressure. Eugene captures with dxcs5. The battlefield opens wider, and dust fills the air as pawns fall and lines are revealed. Wesley responds with qs. The queens vanish from the field in a sudden trade, but tension remains far from over. Eugene recaptures kxd. His king steps into the open early, a risky but necessary choice to keep his structure intact. Wesley plays rd8. The rook storms in with tempo, forcing the white king to dance uncomfortably. Eugene retreats to kc2. The monarch slides towards safety, awkward but determined to survive the crossfire. Wesley captures bxc3. An elegant tactical hit, removing a key defender and loosening white's coordination. Eugene retakes with kxec3. The king fights back personally, brave but exposed in the middle of the board. Wesley continues with b6. Development with purpose. The dark bishop locks eyes on critical diagonals. Eugene answers nf3. The knight re-enters play, forming a fragile but spirited defense around his wandering king. Wesley maneuvers n7, solid and methodical, building a fortress before unleashing the next strike. Eugene slides kb4, a bold, almost reckless move, as the white king wanders deep into no man's land. Wesley activates racite. Both rooks are now in play, their coordination signaling a storm about to break loose. Eugene plays b2, preparing to shield his forces, perhaps dreaming of castle-like safety even without the right. Wesley advances nf6, calm and confident. The knight repositions to pressure key squares and keep the king uneasy. Eugene continues with bc4. The bishop eyes the dark king's flank, hinting at tricks and counter-threats. Wesley replies nc4, a tactical jab, ripping open the center and daring white to survive the chaos. Eugene answers bx6, trading blows furiously, refusing to back down despite his king's peril. Wesley recaptures fc6, structure bends but doesn't break, black's pawns become weapons in disguise. Eugene places rc2u. The rook swings to safety and support, a small breath amid the storm. Wesley responds with b6, calmly reinforcing his defenses, preparing a counter-thrust on the queen side. Eugene pushes chicks. The pawn rushes forward like a hero, cutting deep into enemy lines with desperate courage. Wesley counterattacks rd5, zeitzing the open file, tightening the noose around the exposed white king. Eugene defends with rioni, steadying his troops, trying to resist the mounting pressure from every direction. Wesley drops nc5. The knight plants itself like an anchor, slicing through white space and setting deadly traps. Eugene strikes nf5. The white knight leaps into the fray, its eyes burning with defiance. Wesley captures rx5. Precision and brutality combined, the rook removes the threat without mercy. Eugene regains with rx5. The exchange continues, tension at its peak as steel meets steel. Wesley checks with nd3k. The knight pierces through the defenses, forcing the king into yet another awkward dance. Eugene steps kb5. The king marches further forward, absurdly aggressive, a ruler lost amid chaos. Wesley answers nx5. The knight snatches its prize and clears the field, black's control now overwhelming. Eugene pushes 7, a last flicker of hope, the pawn racing for glory, trying to become a queen. Wesley calmly plays k5. The king joins the defense, confident that the battlefield is firmly in his hands. Eugene shifts kz6, pressing forward with desperation, clinging to the last threads of resistance. Wesley drops nf7. An elegant ray group, black's pieces are harmonized and poised for the killing blow. Eugene plays a4. The final pawn thrust, a cry for freedom amid encirclement. Wesley responds n6, closing the lines once again, his pieces now forming a perfect iron cage. Eugene captures kx7. He takes the pawn, but his king is far from safety, lost deep in hostile land. Wesley counters k8. Calm before the storm, black reorganizes for the final hunt. Eugene answers kxb6, desperate for material, but his monarch grows more vulnerable by the second. Wesley replies k7. The dark king approaches like an executioner, bringing the battle toward its fateful end. Eugene pushes b4. He fortifies his pawn chain, hoping to carve out a small fortress in the chaos. Wesley plays r5. The rook glides smoothly into action, locking its sights on the weakened white position. Eugene advances b5, pushing forward stubbornly, trying to create counterplay even as danger closes in. Wesley answers chait. The king steps into position, uniting the black forces for the final assault. Eugene moves k7. His king clings to life on the edge, surrounded by darkness but still defiant. Wesley plays f4. The rook slices through the fourth rank like a scythe, ready to cut off escape routes. Eugene responds ratvu. He brings his rook to defend, hoping to trade blows and relieve the tension. Wesley counteracts with r5. The rook pulls back just enough to prepare the decisive strike. Eugene twists kb6, inching toward the center, his king still wandering in dangerous territory. Wesley jumps nc4 as the knight crashes in with a check, forcing the king into another desperate retreat. Eugene retreats k6. The monarch staggers back, still fighting to stay alive amid the storm. Wesley answers rd5, tightening the grip, his coordination now flawless and merciless. Eugene pushes forward, a final act of defiance, opening lines and refusing to surrender. Wesley replies rd6, relentless pressure, every move slicing deeper into white's resistance. Eugene moves kc5, dodging again, but each square feels like a trap ready to spring. Wesley responds nd2. The knight repositions sharply, circling for the killing blow. Eugene plays f5. The pawn surges forward, still chasing faint dreams of promotion. Wesley captures kx7, clean and cold. He removes the dangerous pawn without hesitation. Eugene answers b6, a desperate check, but only prolonging the inevitable. Wesley steps bite, calm and untouchable. His king now stands safely on the edge of victory. Eugene moves kb5, trying to provoke chaos, but his king stands naked under black's guns. Wesley places ne4, a perfect central outpost, sealing all exits and tightening the noose. Eugene plays ra1, seeking counterplay on the back rank, one last glimmer of creativity. Wesley counters, rd5. The rook delivers another punishing check, keeping total control. Eugene moves kh6, stepping into the storm once more, but hope is fading fast. Wesley strikes rd6. Like a predator toying with its prey, he forces the king further into darkness. Eugene retreats kb5, again, backpedaling, trapped in a deadly loop of checks. Wesley plays nc3. The knight returns with fury, each jump a dagger to white's chances. Eugene steps kc4. Nowhere safe, just more fire ahead. Wesley checks again with rd5. Surgical precision, every move a hammer blow. Eugene retreats kb4. His king exhausted, trying to hide among his few remaining pawns. Wesley plays ne4. Patient and lethal, the knight tightens the noose once more. Eugene responds rione. His last defender readies for the inevitable clash. Wesley answers nc5, circling like a hawk, preparing to finish the hunt. Eugene shifts kc4. The king still refuses to yield, trembling but proud. Wesley advances kb7. The black king joins the front line, ready to deliver the coup de grace. Eugene captures rx6. A flicker of resistance, one last spark of defiance. Wesley retaliates knight6. The knight restores balance, leaving white stripped of hope. Eugene takes kx5, clawing for material, but it's far too little too late. Wesley answers, knight f4. The knight explodes into action, cutting through white's last pawn shield. Eugene plays kf5. The white king lunges forward one last time, desperate to survive. Wesley captures knight2. Cold execution, removing another pawn with effortless precision. Eugene pushes k6. The monarch staggers forward, but the battlefield is already lost. Wesley responds, nh4. The knight twirls into position, dancing before the final blow. Eugene strikes kx7, collecting scraps but doom is near. Wesley plays nf3. The knight weaves its web, tighter and tighter. Eugene advances h3. A faint whisper of life, giving his king one last shield. Wesley calmly moves n5, circling closer, every jump radiating menace. Eugene plays kd6, still fighting, still breathing, though surrounded on all sides. Wesley captures nx3, precise and pitiless, tearing down the final white pawn on the king's side. Eugene shifts kc5, moving in silence, knowing the end has come. Wesley brings n4. The knight stands triumphant, blocking every road to freedom. Eugene trees kb5, a king alone in the ruins of his army, wandering toward his fate. Wesley finishes with nd5, sealing the board, leaving Eugene with no escape, no hope, and no moves left. Wesley So claims victory, a masterclass of precision, patience, and relentless control. The video ends here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to support me. Thank you again, everyone. See you in the next video.